I found out that even if you don't know what something is said in a foreign language, that neurons in your brain start to form to help you learn that language. Like if you listen to this short little hymn, Jesus lived die kleinen Kinder. And even if you don't know any German in a Dutch, neurons will start to form in your brain to help you form for learning German. Jesus liebt die kleinen Kinder, all Kinder auf der Welt. Alle Farben herrgen, sie sind wertvoll für den Herrn. Jesus liebt die kleinen Kinder auf der Welt. You just heard Jesus loves the little children in German. Even if you didn't know any German, neurons in your brain started to form to help you with that language. And I noticed like that even last year I didn't have this, but now after listening to more German on YouTube, that I'm starting to gain an accent. Like if I read something, like even if I don't really think about it, I'll say the accent in German. Even though most German words I hear on like, especially like what I listen to like Christian music videos, like Sag ja zu Jesus. Sag ja zu Jesus. That means say yes to Jesus. Like reading this paper. They are the same. Jerusalem is the Lord's. He sat at the table. The journey is long. Like when the word same, it's S-A-M-E, but I'm starting to pronounce with a Z and not an S. Same. Jerusalem, instead of with a J, pronounce it with a Y. Jerusalem. He sat at the table. Zat with a Z instead of an S. The journey is long. Instead of a J, pronouncing it with a Y. Like, that proves, like, neurons start to build in your brain, and even when you don't even realize you're saying it, you'll start to take on that accent. Like, it hasn't happened as much with W because I don't see, like, I'm not as used to, I'm used to W, but I guess the more you see the word, the more, or hear it, the more likely you'll remember. That's why, because I see a lot of S words and J words. Like that's why I pronounce Zim, Jerusalem, Zat, Yoni. On, like, right here. That's what neurons form in your brain. And that got me to thinking about something. If neurons form in your brain from a foreign language, even if you have no idea what the language is saying, like most words on Sagya Jesus that I hear on YouTube, most words I don't know, but the neurons still form. Well, that got me to thinking. If neurons form from a foreign language, what else gets for neurons to form? Probably anything you hear, right? Anything that goes in the ear into the brain. Well, that got me to thinking, like, about the music that's on, like, radios now, and CDs, like this newer music, like with Eminem, Rihanna, and Lady Gaga. Like, that there's not good things being produced, not a good influence on our youth. Like, when people hear that, what messages are their neurons taking that the person doesn't realize, but the neurons does? Like, what messages, like, are forming every time someone hears that music? If, just saying, if you, like, for Jesus Loves the Little Children, if you didn't know any German and neurons formed in your brain just for hearing Jesus liebt die kleinen Kinder, all Kind auf der Welt, alle Farben hat gern, sie sind wertvoll für den Herrn. Jesus liebt die kleinen Kinder auf der Welt. If even though you didn't know any German, neurons formed in your brain just from hearing that, what is other things, like what's that music doing to the neurons in your brain every time you hear Lady Gaga music? And, like, and they're obviously not going to be forming good if the music's not good, because, like, anybody who has, like, a trash mouth like Eminem, and he does, naturally the trash talk will be going inside the brain of whoever hears his music. Music that talks about, like, sex, music today that talks about sex and glorifies sin, drugs, and just a bunch of stuff, the neurons will pick up on that, but the person then can't take back what the neurons already formed. It'll be too late. That's why you gotta watch what you listen to. Because even if unknowingly to you, it'll still form in your brain, even if you don't know it. Like, anyone who has Illuminati music whatever music that's is like that can't be good that goes into your brain. Like, if your brain hears nothing but glorifying sex and drugs, the neurons will form and it'll change. It'll change about your brain for the neurons. Whether we realize it or not, our brain chemistry changes. Like, you've seen, like, things, like, you've heard even just things like, even, like, if you have a Dora the Explorer commercial and she goes, uno, dos, tres. 1, 2, 3 is uno, dos, tres. But even if you didn't know any Spanish, neurons in your brain started to form just because you've seen a Dora the Explorer commercial. Even unknowingly the neurons still formed. So, if you're watching a Looney Tune commercial and you hear Speeding Gonzales say, "Adios, amigo." Speeding Gonzales saying, "Adios, amigo." You now have neurons that formed in your brain a tiny bit for Spanish. It may be 2 words, but they still form neurons. And the more you hear something, the more the neurons will build. Sure, hearing 2 words ain't gonna teach you a language, but it'll give you a tiny bit more of a start than you had earlier for learning the language.